Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp was a huge media experience and a huge court case, not just for us here on YouTube, because obviously this was big for a lot of YouTubers. It brought a lot of lawyers into the sphere, lawyers who popped up for better or for worse to cover this case, and people like me who had existing channels, who already had large followings, who attracted even larger followings following the Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp case. But that being said, I'm not one who wants to sit here and milk this forever. I obviously have been covering Disney lately because there's been a lot more going on in the corrupt corporate kingdom than there has been with celebrities. But there's been some movement here, and there's two specific things I wanted to cover kind of together in one video on this subject. And I do promise you guys that I will not be a person, and you've seen me in the past, that has been milking these sorts of topics. But when I feel it's important and when I feel that it is something that merits a consideration or merits going into it, I'm going to cover it. And while I know a lot of other channels, they tried to stay on this as long as possible, I think something like this in what we have today, particularly with both Amber paying and also with a potential reopening of the case, I think this is something that could be big. I think it's something that could actually merit coverage. Of course, welcome to the Legal Mindset, where we teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, an American attorney, specifically a Florida attorney, who is living over here in Asia. Currently, I'm in Bangkok, Thailand. Also spend significant time in Korea, Japan, and all over where people want to be in Asia. And by the way, check out my new channel, Go East Gentlemen, if you have not. All right, so let's get right into it. So what do we have today with this case? So what we have that I thought was useful to cover is that we have a settlement. So, and Johnny Depp selecting the charities to give from that settlement. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. As always, I'm going to be real. I'm not a person who's some sort of Johnny Depp simp who just says Johnny is the best ever. I've said before that Johnny Depp has his good parts, he has his bad parts, you know, who he is. But I'm glad in that case he prevailed because justice was served in protecting against Amber's ridiculous claims, and in a broader context against frivolous Me Too claims in America. So he selected the charities. He picked 5 charities. He received the $1 million from Miss Heard very recently, and he selected the 5. Now, originally he was entitled to $10 million in compensatory and $5 million in punitive. So with the $2 million that Heard was awarded, it was $13 million. But he brought that down to $1 million, which was good. And Depp's lawyers said, "We're pleased to formally close the door on this painful chapter for Mr. Depp and clear the process that his priority was bringing the truth to light." So he donated every single dollar of this. He chose to split the money evenly between Make a Film Foundation, the Painted Turtle, Red Feather, and Tiatora Society and Amazonia Fund Alliance. Just to go through those real quick, Make a Film is obviously a film foundation. Tiatora actually is related to a atoll out in French Polynesia that is owned by Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando's resort, the Brando, is out there on this. So I assume he spent some time in this resort, liked it, liked the atoll, wanted to give to preservation. That's cool. That's great. Out here in my stretch of the woods, towards the Pacific. So perhaps I check that out one day. Who knows? Amazonia Fund Alliance, that's the Amazon. So protecting the Amazon, Amazonian wildlife. Painted Turtle, which is a camp, for kids with serious medical conditions. So that's pretty cool. It's a good cause. And then you also have a tribe-related or Native American tribal-related housing organization called the Red Feather. I will say I was a little disappointed that Johnny did not select a men's charity for helping men with domestic violence or setting up something to help men who are victims of domestic violence, victims of false accusers. I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm not going to say. However, I will say this. Despite me being disappointed, I am a person who believes that people can do whatever they want with their money. It's their money. It's their right. So Johnny has every right to give it to these charities. They seem like good charities, seem like fine charities. But I will say I did hope that one of those was going to be a men's charity. I'm just being 100% honest. But something that I think could help, and something I've seen lately, is a call for the UK case to be opened. And this is something that I've seen pushed pretty strongly by another lawyer on YouTube, which is Black Belt Barrister. I reached out to him to collaborate in the past. and always would be happy to collaborate with him. But of course, UK and Asia is kind of hard to make happen. But he's been calling pretty hard for a reopening of this case and has already gotten a significant amount of signatures. So I said, look, I'm at a 100,000 subscribers. So if some people could sign the, or just, support this, I think we could really push this petition to reopen it. And I think his arguments and the arguments for the reopening of this, and this is a change.org petition, but I think the arguments are actually very, very strong. So, talking about the incompatible outcomes. So there's evidentiary findings in the UK and in the US that were completely different, that were just absolutely different. There's evidence that was not considered at all in the UK, where it is considered in the United States. Also, I like this argument that there was the effective opponent. So saying there's no basis to counter the notion that Amber Heard was the effective opponent in the UK trial, even if she was not a party. Given that the subject matter was inescapably a set of her allegations, she should have been included. So Amber was not a party to that UK trial, and that was pretty central to the findings in that case. She should have been a party even though she wasn't. So that's a big thing. And also allowing in that evidence like the police footage, the body-worn camera, and the photographs, I think that is great. And showing that they're digitally edited, that is fantastic. And then obviously you have an issue with a jury trial versus a judge. Right, so we have a jury trial now, a jury that has come out with this conclusion, right, versus a judge, which is questionable in that case. And also, Amber did not give over, right? She's saying there's issues with disclosure. She did not give over everything she was obligated to give over, and because of that, because she didn't give over that evidence, the judge didn't consider it. And I think that's where there's a huge problem here, and where they need to come and reassess it in light of all that evidence and in that conclusion. I think that it would only be fair for the UK. And as this petition is at 87K, and I'm like, look, we have 100,000 people on this. If half of that, go here and do this change.org petition, I think we could get significantly there. I think that'd be awesome. And I think that'd be, a fantastic thing to reopen it and get justice in not just the US, but the UK. Because having this incompatible result has led to Amber defenders using this as a shield. So they're able to use this as a shield and say, okay, well, because Johnny only won in the United States, he's still guilty, right? He's still an abuser. They're hanging on that UK decision in order to call him names, to kind of come after him. I think it would fully clear him. And on top of that, it would really change the narrative for folks who are false accusers and show there is actual consequence for false accusations. Otherwise, pretty much it's open season in the UK. And frankly, it makes a mockery of the system. It makes the UK look like a joke. It makes Britain look like a joke as a country, as an institution, as the basis for our law. It's kind of sad to say, hey, look, credit where credit is due. We are products in America, our judicial system, and the advances it's made. And it's not perfect. It certainly has a lot of issues. So let's just be very clear about that. But in this case, in this specific case where our American system, goes past England, is coming with a better result than England, we've advanced, we've moved past that, even though, hey, look, English civil law is the basis on which we made the best system possible, the best system that exists. English civil law is the basis for many of the most successful city-states around the world. Think of Singapore and Hong Kong before it was CCP-ified, right? English law is kind of the bedrock beyond that, the rule of law, due process. So these things, these rights, are very important for why these countries have flourished, why people have flourished, why nations have flourished. And I think we're often forgetting that. So this is something that I think Black Belt Barrister gets. I think he understands that the UK needs to move forward, else it's going to become the dinosaur. It's going to become like the Napoleonic Code, like the old law that kind of no longer really applies. It doesn't work well. Yeah, you got to advance, you got to move on, you've got to update. You've always got to be doing that. And I think that's something that we need to see here in the UK in order to get justice in this case and kind of correct things and move things out. As always, guys, look, I am not going to be doing Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp. I'm going to go back to covering probably a lot of the corruption in the corporate in the corporate arena because there's so much. But I hope you guys like this. I hope if you do like this, you like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for getting me to 100K subscribers. I know this is a premiere, but I am going to be doing still at least one full live, like a live per week. So don't worry about that. Also, I'll be doing lives on my legalmindset.locals.com. So make sure you check out that if you want to get the latest and greatest information and you want to, see me on a regular basis. That being said, guys, take care. Catch you later. Peace.